In this talk, we will present our CHI paper, Virtual Field Studies, Conducting Studies on Public Displays in Virtual Reality. Field studies are often difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. This is especially true for studies that involve deploying interactive technology in the field, such as prototypes of public displays. Researchers often struggle with permissions, maintenance, data collection, misuse, and even vandalism. We envision running field studies in virtual reality. Because we have total control of the virtual world, we can avoid many of the problems that we often face with field studies, and we can conduct studies that would otherwise be difficult or even impossible. Therefore, in this paper, we seek to understand whether virtual field studies are a feasible method. It is unclear whether virtual field studies can yield valid results, how much effort they require, and how studies in VR should be designed. To carry out this work, we built a virtual replica of an existing real-world space. We then conducted 2 user studies in the virtual environment and 2 identical user studies in the real world and compared their results. In both studies, participants were presented with tasks that did not reveal the display as the study's focus, but allowed them to discover the display on their own. In Study 1, we investigated whether the honeypot effect could occur in VR. We measured whether participants would pay more attention to a public display when an audience expressed interest in it. In the real world, this was done with 3 actors, and in VR we used computer-controlled avatars. In Study 2, we explored how users notice, approach, and engage with interactive displays in virtual environments. For this study, we built a playful gesture-controlled application. Participants were tasked with using a tablet that served as a distraction. After the task, participants were put in a waiting situation where they had the chance to discover and interact with the display. Our findings suggest that virtual field studies can produce ecologically valid results. The results from our virtual studies were mostly comparable with the results from the real-world studies. However, we also found factors that warrant more studies to understand their effect on study results. Participants tended to be generally more active in VR, and using personal technologies such as smartphones is a frequent activity in the real world, whereas they cannot be accessed as naturally in VR. In terms of effort, from our experience, many aspects of field studies were considerably easier in VR. However, virtual field studies require that a virtual environment is built, which can require significant resources. Yet, this environment can be easily reused, adapted, or expanded for subsequent studies. Regarding study design in VR, participants must be presented with a scenario that does not reveal the true focus of the study and that gives them a chance to discover the technology under evaluation on their own. For more details, please check out our paper.